Let's count them down.
First up, the Hurricane Heist. Well, we might as well start things off with this disaster. Toby Kebbell, being a meteorologist with a terrible southern accent, has to help Maggie Grace's government agent stop a dime store Hans Gruber from stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from a U.S. Mint facility in the middle of a hurricane. From the director of the original The Fast and the Furious and Triple X comes this. While in the right mood there might be some fun to be had, this made-for-the-sci-fi network at best movie doesn't really offer anything worth seeing in the theater. The script is pretty terrible, the actors are doing their, well, I wouldn't say best with it, the effects are not very good, and the action is pretty boring and silly. If you really have to check this one out and it shows up on Netflix, which I'm pretty positive that it will, that would probably be the time to see it. Next up, A Wrinkle in Time. After the disappearance of her scientist father, three mystical beings send Meg, her brother, and her friend on a space-time bending adventure in order to find him. While A Wrinkle in Time has a very good overall message about being yourself and never losing hope, that's about all it really has to offer. Now, when it does get going and makes it to the movie's Land of Evil, it's okay, but it takes forever to get there. More than half of the movie is devoted to explaining everything to the audience in the form of Oprah Winfrey, Mindy Kaling, and Reese Witherspoon's mystical characters. While watching the movie, in my head I was jokingly calling this one a wrinkle in exposition. Another downfall is this movie's overuse of CGI. Now, I understand that to create these fantastical worlds they almost had to, but everything almost looked too cartoony. While it wouldn't have saved this movie as a whole, it might have at least been more effective visually as a fully computer animated film. While I didn't think this was a terrible movie overall, I feel like Disney really missed an opportunity to tell a really fun story here. Next up, Gringo. When a man's life, well, basically goes to crap, he tries to pull off a kidnapping scheme that leads to him really being kidnapped and caught up in the middle of a confrontation between Mexican drug lords, a morally conflicted mercenary, and his own backstabbing bosses back home. While I can't really recommend this dark comedy-ish action movie to everybody, I think some people will get some enjoyment out of it. I do have to say that if this movie didn't have the high level of talent behind its characters, it probably wouldn't have been very good at all. David Oyelowo is very charismatic and likable as the everyman doormat character. Joel Edgerton and Charlize Theron are both so despicable and conniving that you can't help but like them. I did feel that Amanda Seyfried's character's side story was kind of a waste of time. Now, when the S does finally hit the fan, the movie does get unapologetically brutal and bloody, without much warning. Again, while I kind of enjoyed the insane ride of this movie, it's not one that I would watch again or be able to fully recommend. Lastly, The Strangers, Pray at Night. While this isn't really saying much, I felt that this sequel was better than its 2008 predecessor. While it has a similar setup to the first movie, it's a bit different because the whole movie isn't just the strangers toying with their victims for the entire freaking film. I mean, sure, they do that stuff too, but they actually take some people out throughout the movie. I have to say that the killer in the first movie that said, "It'll be easier next time," well, she was wrong. Two of the characters in the movie actually get to put up a fight this time around, which made me enjoy it a bit more than the first one. While this one was overall better, like the first movie, the sequel did rely on too many jump scares, both real and false, for its frights. I also do have to say that like part 1, if you're in the right mood, it could be a decent movie to watch for horror fans. That's going to be all for Rapid Fire Reviews. This has been The Real Geno. Thanks for watching.